ready to get things going. Tim Kelly, Anthony Eads, Michael Lucky, the three officials in charge. And Tim, these two teams, they move, they play with pace, and they're both averaging about 86 points a game.
And the big story to watch is tempo. Two high-scoring teams that both average 87 points per game. The numbers to watch: turnovers and rebounding.
Barry Evans has it up top for VCU. Off to Lazar Djokovic, in and out. One and done for the Rams on their first possession.
Both teams seek space when they get in transition. That's the best time to hit.
Great move off the glass there by Jimmy Williams to open the scoring. 2-0, Duquesne on top.
Offensively, both these teams play spread offense. They pass the ball exceptional.
Near steal. It is a steal by Netchis. Fouled on the way up. He'll head to the line for two. Great anticipation by Jakub Netchis, the 6'10 junior from the Czech Republic.
Jimmy Williams has become the most reliable scorer for the Dukes. And here in transition is Netchis. This is a kid that has evolved. Last year he played behind some really good big guys, and he has learned and expanded. He's now a defender, a rebounder, and a scorer, and a very good leader on this Duke squad.
67.5% from the line is Netchis so far this season. Converts on the first. That personal foul was on Barry Evans, his first of this afternoon.
You know, with Netchis, I just like a guy that's top 10 in every statistical category. He's so versatile.
Early 3-0 lead for the Dukes' first minute of play.
And both teams will play a strong majority of man-to-man. Check out the pressure by Duquesne.
Adrian Tracy working off that high screen. Shot clock now at 10. Jennings looking to drive. Cut off, turn around lefty, back iron too strong. Netchis with the rebound. The man you talked about, Ginyard. What an explosive step, high off the glass, gets it to go. And what a start by the Dukes, an early 5-0 lead, 90 seconds in.
And these 12 o'clock tips, much more challenging for the away team. It's just a foreign environment.
Evans cut off baseline, another near steal by Duquesne. Jimmy Williams, though, foot on the end line. Rams will maintain possession, but look at Ginyard there. That quick step.
Yeah, so clutch. And if you look at his contributions, he's top 10 in A-10 scoring. He's the engine on this team. But the category he leads the conference in is swagger.
That can go a long way at the end of a 40-minute battle. Tracy from long range, well off the mark. Rebounded by Djokovic, who will have to launch from three, and he converts. Way to settle in for the Rams after a indifferent start.
And what I'm watching closely with Djokovic, what happens to a guy when he finishes with a career high? He's come out very aggressive.
Ginyard off the mark there. Rams looking to run. Here's Lewis. He'll go the length of the floor, a lot of contact. That is going to be a foul on Jimmy Williams, his first. And we take a look at the ranks of where these teams score. We touched on it. Nearly 87 a game for both. They're up in that top echelon of the Atlantic 10.
And what they also do is they play offense off their defense. Both of these teams have a junkyard dog mentality. And I'm particularly interested in watching Duquesne in person. Remember, Keith Dambrot, for the longest time, was a defense-first coach. Drew Joyce took over, and he was playing a system based on the players he had. This team is so much faster than it's been, and he told us beforehand, it's really hard to win games in the 60s in this league. Right now, they're at 87 for the season.
Lewis makes one of two. Duquesne maintaining the 1-point lead. That was a kick ball off the Rams, so the Dukes will maintain possession. Ginyard to inbound. Williams, baseline jumper. doesn't go. Rebound, the long one comes down to Tracy. Numbers aren't there, so he slows it up. He tried to get it down in the blocks to Djokovic. That is a tough man to guard that close to the hoop.
Here in the low post is Djokovic, and he's taking up a lot of space inside. It wouldn't surprise me if someday you tell me that Djokovic is the best big man in the conference. He's got that kind of skill set.
Second foul on Jimmy Williams in the first 2.5 minutes, so he'll head to the bench. Someone Duquesne can ill afford to not play a good part of this game. Nice pull-up jumper by Lewis, a 6-0 run by the Rams. They've got the 1-point lead. It's Jake DeMichael, the redshirt sophomore from the Keys Rocks of Pennsylvania, in the game, replacing Williams.
Big improvement this year, getting to the paint. Drew Joyce said when the ball touches the paint, they shoot 60% or above.
Long-range three by DeMichael doesn't go. The Rams with the rebound. Jennings looking to push. Goes the length of the floor, and what a block. That was David Dixon. Emphatic. Last touch by Jennings. We noticed Dixon in warm-ups, and we're like, that is a physically gifted young man.
Well, he does two things really well at 6'9", 230. He blocks shots and he dunks the basketball. He has over 100 career points coming off of dunks.
And he's coming off a career high in rebounds, 13 of them against Davidson last game out for Dixon.
I remember watching Duquesne last year, and I just thought that they really struggled. They went stagnant for long periods of the game. One-on-one, they really had a tough time. This team is balanced. They've got more shooting and the ability to get to the rim.
Nice work, high-low, down to Dixon, who slams it home. 7-6, Dukes by 1. Rams looking to run as they do early and often. Jennings cut off momentarily. Wonderful patience using the left hand off the glass. 8-7 VCU with the lead. Kind of the pace you expected early, correct?
There's no deception whatsoever.
Djokovic blocking Ginyard. Rams in transition. Evans from 3, right wing. Got it. So after a 5-0 start for the Dukes, it's an 11-2 run for the Rams. They've got a 4-point lead. 4.5 minutes into this opening half of play. DeMichael gets it swatted away by Evans. But Duquesne maintains possession. Ginyard with it up top. Cut off momentarily by Jennings. Shot clock at 6. Ginyard goes to the floor, and it appears to be a foul called on Brandon Jennings, and that is. We're back in Pittsburgh. VCU with an 11-7 lead over Duquesne. 15-16 to go here in the first half of play. So glad you could join us on this new year. To kick off Atlantic 10 basketball, Steve Burkowski and Tim McCormick with you. We touched on the top of the show. John Ubley not in the lineup, 5th consecutive game. A coach's decision not upholding the standards Drew Joyce expects of his guys. That's a big loss. How is this team different without him?
Well, first of all, he's their number 2 scorer at 6'11", 270. He's the biggest guy, one of the biggest in the league. He has 6 years of college experience. He's played at Pitt, Oklahoma, Xavier, and now Duquesne. And I, quite frankly, think their defense is better without him playing. Remember in November, Duquesne really struggled on the defensive end. They were fouling way too much. And with the smaller lineup, Duquesne has played some of their best basketball. They won 3 straight, including a double overtime thriller earlier this week at Davidson.
Into the lineup for the Rams, Terrence Hill Jr., their leading scorer, but he comes off the bench and usually provides a spark. We'll see if he does it again. DeMichael down the lane, back iron with the short one, not to be. And they're going to call. Looked like VCU had some numbers. Let's see what the foul will be on what player. It will be on Duquesne.
And there's Terrence Hill we had a chance to talk about him. We asked him, do you know who Vinnie Johnson is? and he had no idea. And we asked him to do a little research, find out about him. But he's got the same kind of impact. And Phil Martelli Jr. said that when he comes in the game, he senses that the other team changes their dynamics. Their defense is different, all because Hill is a prolific scorer.
Foul on Ginyard, his first, fourth team foul for the Dukes. Shot clock at 10 for VCU. Lewis cut off. No, he says, I'm going to go baseline anyhow. Air ball there. Dukes looking to run at least momentarily. VCU getting back. They run, and the whistles are blowing early here in the first nearly 5.5 minutes of play.
Defensively, there's really a fun fact about the VCU guys. They are top 5 in both blocks and steals. They contest shots really well. And you can go back to the Shaka Smart era where they played havoc defense. This VCU team will press like that, but it's not as much pressure, not as much relying on forcing turnovers. They want to just speed it up.
That foul was on Djokovic as the long-range three by Max Edwards goes for the Dukes. They're back within one. Keyshawn Mitchell into the game as well for VCU, the 6'11 junior from Brooklyn, and they're not afraid to shoot. The long-range jumper by Tracy doesn't go. Look how quickly Ginyard gets it down there to Edwards. He's fouled on the way up. A lot of contact. He'll head to the line for 2.
Did you see the recognition by Ginyard? A soft pass wouldn't get there. A pass right to the chest of Edwards would not have worked. He threw it to the outside hand away from the defense passing lanes.
That's going to be a foul on Jadrian Tracy. We're seeing early in Atlantic 10 play in this new year, Tim. It's going to be a physical few months, isn't it?
It certainly will. And it's not just the big guys. The wings for both of these teams are very strong and aggressive. And good to see Edwards. He's a 1,000-point career scorer, did great work at GW. The next step for him, we've seen him make a lot of shots from the perimeter. So far this year, he has not been able to shoot the perimeter ball.
Missed both there. 11-10 VCU still up by 1. Also into the game, Alex Williams, the grad student for the Dukes. Mitchell, long-range 3. In and out. Didn't go. Long rebound. Picked up by Alex Williams. Quickly down to Max Edwards. This one goes off the glass with the left hand, and the Dukes back on top by 1. Jennings against the Michael. Triple team, gets it in the corner. Tracy's three's got it. What an answer. 14-12 VCU by a deuce. 13-20 and counting. Edwards for 3. Off the mark with that one. Rebounded by the Rams. Jennings slows it at least for the moment. And there's the man we wanted to see. Terrence Hill Jr. fouled on the way up right in front of the Duquesne bench. It's going to be a personal foul on DeMichael, and we'll send Hill to the line for 3.
Beating VCU is a test of maturity. You have to hit in transition before their half-court defense comes. And beautiful find, Tracy in the corner.
Drew Joyce not thrilled with that foul call, and they went to just double-check. Was he behind the three-point line? And it is confirmed. Tim Kelly, the head official in charge, letting us know it will be 3 free throw opportunities for Terrence Hill Jr.
Yeah, Drew Joyce brought up something really interesting. Remember, the Dukes had lost 10 of their last 14 games that were decided by 6 points or less. And so prior to Davidson, they re-examined everything to see what they could do a little bit different. They looked at the analytics, the different lineups, the defenses, the sets they called. They made some adjustments and then went ahead and knocked off Davidson in front of Steph Curry, in front of a sellout crowd by making fundamental plays. You know, the philosophy is little things make a very big difference, especially in a double overtime game.
And it's a growing opportunity as Hill converts on all the prize, nearly 91%. 40% from the stripe on the season is Hill, and a little full court pressure now by the Rams, up 5.
VCU full court pressure, but remember, they're not a defense that turns their opponents over very often.
Alex Williams up top, shot clock at 13. Edwards, great give and go to DeMichael, off the glass, and it goes. Really good patience on that possession by the Dukes.
Free-flowing offense by VCU, a lot of one-on-one tendencies. The players have freedom to create.
Nearly thrown away by Hill, last touch by DeMichael. The Rams will maintain possession.
So how do you beat pressure? It's with back cuts, and DeMichael is exceptional at reading defenses.
Tracy thought about the long three, now left wing to Evans, shot clock at 5. Now down to 2, Bell pulls up, front iron, not to be. Edwards with the rebound, thought about running, numbers weren't there. Ginyard will slow it up for the moment. We've got another Lazar into the lineup as Ginyard well off the mark. Lazar Milosevic.
I think this is the first game in college basketball history where you've got 2 Lazars going head-to-head. Have you ever seen that?
I have not, but now we have.
we also have 2 Brandons that are 0 on each team.
That's how we're starting the new year. The parallels, the similarities between VCU and Duquesne. Rams have a 3-point lead, 17-14, 12:03 to go here in the first half of play. Waiting to see Hill provide the spark that he usually does when he comes off the bench. Duquesne well aware, double teaming him, forcing the ball out of his hands. Shot clock now at 10. Great backdoor cut by Terrence Hill Jr., who lays it up and in.
On cue. He's so fun to watch. One of the truly great bench sparks. Phil Martelli Jr. said that on my team, I've got 9 different starters. Hill is one of them.
They've had 11 guys in double figures this season alone as the Rams looking to run. Once again, Hill, long range 3, in and out, halfway down, didn't go. Second chance opportunity for VCU, as we're saying they are not afraid to shoot the ball. Tracy from long range goes. The lead is now 8 for VCU.
Phil Martelli, high energy and dynamic. He loves the pace. They're scoring at will. And he said, guys, we have opportunities when we miss shots to attack the offensive glass. Why? Duquesne is pressuring the ball. It's hard to pressure and then also box out. Let's see if they grab an offensive rebound soon.
Full court pressure once again by the Rams out of that stoppage of play. Nearly turned over by the Dukes. Williams able to get it in the front court. Jimmy Williams back into the game with the ball, and those 2 early fouls throws it away. Rams looking to run yet again. Here's Mitchell, a lot of contact. They're going to say a foul before he lost control of the ball, and that's going to go against Alex Williams from Duquesne.
Keyshawn, Mitchell, and Evans have helped so much. Remember, they played at Bryant for Phil Martelli Jr. He has a system. It's unique. It reminds me a lot of his dad, Phil Martelli Sr., when he was at St. Joe's. He was really one of the first guys to play that empty post 5-out offense. You see a lot of those tendencies with Phil Jr.'s team.
Hill thought about it momentarily, gets it to Mitchell. Off the glass, and he forces that one home to extend the lead to double digits. Critical juncture right now for Duquesne. Do you believe that?
I do. Absolutely. And when you think about this Duquesne team, they've made great improvement, but in the A-10, the standard has been Dayton and VCU, the top teams. This would be a significant win for the Dukes.
Nice bucket by Ginyard to chip into that deficit. Now down 8. Evans, one-handed shot, goes, and he's fouled. They'll head to the line for one more. No, excuse me, offensive foul. That was an offensive foul. The hook, I saw Tim Kelly on the other side. So wipe that bucket off. Like the call?
Yeah, watch the left hand. He put it right on the hip of the defender, and you can't do that.
Got to get the ball in the hands of Ginyard. They do. See if we can spark things in the right way for the Dukes. Trailing VCU 24-16, 9:45 and counting here in the first half of play.
This is a trip I'd like to see Netjes more involved offensively. Right now, Bell is playing great defense.
Dixon had it stripped on the way up by Mitchell. Second turnover by the Dukes. Quickly into the front court. Jennings cut off momentarily. The fans wanted a traveling call, not to be. Hill, a magnificent score and a wonderful pass down low. I don't think Michael Bell was ready for it. Sometimes you have to take the good with the bad when you play with so much pace. Down low in the blocks, Dixon up and under, not to be, but fouled on the way up. That's going to go against Michael Bell.
We know how addicted to basketball the coaches are, but it's good to have an outlet. And Drew Joyce was telling us that his outlet, he loves cooking. Over the holidays, he made a cheesecake banana pudding. And growing up as a 10-year-old, he watched his mom and fell in love with cooking and shared that his favorite shows were ESPN and the Food Network. Specifically, his favorite was Emeril Lagasse.
How about that combo? ESPN and the Food Network. He knew his sports and he knows his way around the kitchen, and he said that pudding has been well received. He ran it back over the holidays as well, from Thanksgiving to New Year, as Duquesne makes both those from the stripe. Little 4-0 run, 24-18, Rams up by 6. Long range shot by Lewis doesn't go. Second chance opportunity for VCU, same spot, different result for Nick Lewis.
Phil Martelli told his team there are opportunities on the offensive glass. This shot, offensive rebound, 3, well done by the Rams.
27-18 as Netjes has it up top. Shot clock at 15. Near steal by Jennings. Dixon down low, throws it away, and here come the Rams once again. What a great look by Hill to Djokovic, who's fouled on the way up by Jakub Netjes. We talked about Hill and his scoring prowess. He's had 2 or 3 sensational passes this afternoon.
Interchangeable parts, and look in transition. Everybody runs hard because they know they've got a chance to get some work done. Djokovic is a superb talent, and he has taken off. When you think about the best big guys, Mitchell from St. Bonaventure, Avila from St. Louis, Djokovic is on that list. He does some spectacular things at 6'11".
17 foul for Duquesne. Djokovic, the 6'11 junior from Serbia. Phil Martelli Jr. said he has all the tools. He's coming off a career high against St. Bonaventure, where he went for 23. 1 of 2 from there.
And what happens after the career high? A lot of guys relax, and they'll walk around, be the big man on campus. They feel good about themselves. It's really important to come back off a career high and have just as good a game.
Last 6 possessions, Duquesne has turned it over 3 times after not having a single miscue in their first 15 trips down the floor. How about Netjes bodying his way down there? Was the new head coach right here at Duquesne. Can you imagine what those high school practices were like?
Well, how do you keep LeBron excited, motivated? And the other thing they would do is sometimes they had to play all the starters together. So they would put a 25-point deficit going into the 4th quarter on the board for the varsity players, and they would have to try to come back. So a very close relationship for Drew and LeBron.
That just makes 1 of 2. The Dukes down 9, 28-19. VCU with the ball, 7:40 remaining here in the first half.
15-3 advantage so far from 3 for VCU.
Noel got it to Djokovic, who was fouled on the way up. So many guys come off the bench for VCU, and they continue to attack.
9 different VCU Rams have led the team in scoring. 11 have already scored in double figures. I think that this is the deepest team in the entire A-10.
David Dixon picks up the foul, his first, the team's 8th. And fouls, as we talked to Drew Joyce earlier this morning, has been a problem, especially in the early part of the year for Duquesne.
The goal for Duquesne is to allow their opponent to shoot 18 free throws. It was really a problem in November. Got a little bit better in December. They've made good progress at the start of this year.
Rams up 11. Duquesne, 8 fouls, 7 field goals so far in the first half. Junior thought about the 3, gets it down low in the blocks. What a move by Dixon. Contact in the paint. He'll head to the line. Phil Martelli Jr. not thrilled with the call.
Attacking the rim is a good idea. VCU is a really good perimeter defense, but they leave their big guys on an island. Number 4 defensively is there by himself, and the help was a little bit late. There's Phil Martelli Jr. See a lot of his dad in his coaching tendencies.
Personal foul on Brandon Jennings as Dixon makes the first. 78.5% from the stripe this year for Dixon, the 6'9" senior from Memphis, Tennessee.
I was talking to Phil Martelli Sr. before the game. Barry Evans walked by and Phil said, "Hey Barry, really good teams win on the road." And Barry nodded his head and said, "I got it, coach."
So far they do. 10-point lead for the Rams. Djokovic cut off from the paint, forces it not to be. DeMichael with the rebound. Ginyard looking to push it. Left wing, net just not to. Thought he was going to launch it because very few have it.
15-3 advantage from 3 so far for VCU.
There's Crawford. Long range jumper doesn't go. Rebounded by Noel. Quickly into the front court. Here's Jennings, right hand. Too strong. Netchis finally gathers it. Has numbers momentarily. Good boy. VCU gets back so quickly. Mismatch down low. Dixon double teamed. Skip pass to Crawford. DeMichael wide open. Makes it.
If there's a guy that you can't leave, DeMichael is at the top of opponent scouting reports for his 3-point shooting. That's a defensive mistake by VCU.
30-23, Rams by 7, a near steal by Duquesne, and it is as Netchis picks up the loose ball. Here's Ginyard. He's quick, and he's special. Lays it up and in. A quick 5-0 run by the Dukes. VCU slowing it down. Noel has it. Right wing. Shot clock at 10. Looking to take DeMichael. But Dixon comes in to help. Somehow Noel gets the ball and lays it up and in. That ends a 6-0 run by the Dukes. Boston, Love, Nebraska collide in a rematch you don't want to miss. Michael off the high screen. Great give and go to Lazar Milosevic, who finishes with authority.
So impressive when you're coming out of a timeout and a team can get a layup or a dunk. Nice job by Drew Joyce.
Skip past the bell. Jennings in the corner. Djokovic, top of the key. Front iron, no good. Rebounded by Duquesne.
Maybe a trip to run some clock. Get everybody a touch, go side to side.
Ginyard has it. Mismatch here. Shot clock at 7. Loses it. Rams quickly down to the front court, and fouled on the way up was Nick Lewis. Good hustle, though, by Cameron Crawford to make it a bit more challenging.
Boy, what a great effort getting to the rim by Nick Lewis. And I think that it looked like he ran into our cameraman on the baseline. I mean, imagine sprinting as fast as you can. Is there contact with the stanchion underneath? Yeah, he took a hit. And
might have a better look right here.
he landed right in the cameraman's lap. What a future he has. Good programs have mentoring that goes in, and Nick Lewis fits the system. He's a key on defense. He can make a perimeter shot. Already 3 times this year, the A10 Rookie of the Week. He's got stardom written all over him.
Tracy Hill Mitchell back into the game for VCU as Lewis makes both. The lead back up to 7 for the Rams, 34-27. And bear in mind, Jimmy Williams picked up those 2 fouls early. He's been a non-factor in this first half, and somehow Duquesne hanging in there. Ginyard had his trip momentarily, gets it back. Shot clock at 10 to Michael. Playing a little high-low with Lazar. The 8-footer, and what a soft touch there by Milosevic. (34-29) VCU by 5 as we are nearing the 3:30 mark remaining here in the first half of play. There's Mitchell's 3-ball. Strong, but a second chance opportunity for the Rams. Tracy came down with it. He'll launch it for 3, and he's got it. Got the return pass from Lewis.
I love the philosophy by VCU offensively. If you're open, shoot it. If you're not, pass it. If there's nobody available, drive it. It's a simple philosophy that's working really well for this Rams offense.
(37-29) Rams by 8. Shot clock at 5. Williams with the left hand, and what a gorgeous touch by Alex Williams off the glass to get it to go.
Alex knows where the weight room is on campus. He is built. I think he could be a rush linebacker for somebody.
Drew Joyce said he's the strongest player on the team as we got another foul, another trip to the line. Thrilled to kick it off. Lisa from Pittsburgh, 37-31 VCU, 6-point lead over Duquesne, and that is a very familiar man sitting not too far from us here at the Fieldhouse.
And one of the great coaches in Big 5 history in Philadelphia, Phil Martelli. He was a no-nonsense guy, and I asked his son, Phil Martelli Jr., what did you learn from your dad? Give me an example. He said, well, he was coaching Jameer Nelson, the best point guard in the entire country, and Jameer came in late for practice. Phil went off on him, kicked him out, said, we don't need this kind of attitude on this team. That takes a lot of guts to kick one of the best players in the country out of practice.
Mitchell misses the first free throw. The foul before the break was on Milosevic, his second. 1 of 2 for Keyshawn. The lead back up to 7, 38-31. Rams with the lead, 2.5 to go here in the first half of play. Here's something for you. Duquesne has 31 points, 16 from the bench, 15 from the starters.
Love the balance. But here,
how about that pass to Dixon from Ginyard?
Here's my concern for the Dukes. They're shooting 55% from the field, and they're losing by 5. That's a danger zone right now going into the last 2 minutes of the first half.
Go back to Jimmy Williams, one of their leaders. He's played less than 4 minutes. He has 2 points and 2 fouls as Terrence Hill Jr. lets everyone know I'm going to silence this place if I can. 41-33, Rams by 8.
If you ask me to pick a better shooter than Hill, I can't find one in this league.
And that's something Phil Martelli Jr. shared with us, that he's a good shooter, but not just a shooter. He's a magnificent scorer. Dame Lillard, that's the guy he's kind of modeled himself after because he grew up in Portland.
Well, he met Dame when he was entering high school, and he said, the thing I try to do like Dame Lillard is I want a go-to move. And I said, what is your go-to move?
Wouldn't tell us.
He wouldn't tell us. He said, I'm afraid you'd share it and everybody would know.
A lot of contact. Ginyard fouled on the way up. He's going to head to the line to shoot 2.
Off the dribble, jet quick. If Ginyard goes to his left, he pulls up for a mid-range. If he goes to his right, he's going all the way seeking contact.
Foul on Jadrian Tracy for VCU. Ginyard just over 70% from the line this year, and the numbers are staggering for Ginyard. Second in the Atlantic 10 in assists, third in assist-to-turnover ratio, fourth in scoring for the guy who played at Tennessee Martin last year. And Drew Joyce told us, Tim, not many people knew who this guy was. And when he first saw tape of him, he said, we got to get him here quickly.
Unique story. Both Ginyard and Jimmy Williams weren't wanted by anybody. And you look at their chemistry. They actually played together in the playground down in the Tampa area, didn't they?
Yeah, Sadie Park. They didn't know that they would soon be teammates at Duquesne. What a great backdoor cut by Hill. Easy finish. 43-34. The Rams by 9, 1:15 and counting here in the first half of play. Crawford lays it up. Not to be, says Djokovic. Swats it out. And the Rams will get possession. What did you say earlier? How do you beat some high pressure? What do you do?
Back cut. And that's a set play. Running a little horns action. And, you know, I want to give Jadrian Tracy, I love the layup and the back cut. I really enjoyed the pass.
Tracy down low to Djokovic, who fouled on the way up, and will head to the line for one more. There is no one better in the A10 than Lazar Djokovic in the N1 category. This is the 12th time he'll head to the line after being fouled and making a basket.
And there was no help whatsoever coming. Why? Because when you're surrounded with three-point weapons, they're not going to leave the perimeter. Djokovic has a reputation of being able to score inside, and if you double team him, he will find an open teammate. It's a double dilemma for Duquesne.
Foul on Netchis into the game for the first time today for VCU. Jordan Tillery, the 6'5 freshman from Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, this seems like a really big possession coming up for Duquesne. They're in their building. They're down double digits going into halftime. This is a trip where they need to get an opportunity to the rim for Ginyard and maybe kick for a three.
Largest lead of the afternoon for VCU. They're up 12, 46 to 34, and a great pass to Dixon. Almost didn't go, and now they're going to say offensive basket interference.
Okay, they're looking whether they should review this because of the fact that on a dunk, you cannot hang on the rim. I think that Dixon hung. He missed the dunk. Watch how long he's hanging. The ball at that point was sitting on the rim.
And Drew Joyce quickly said, you know what? I'm going to challenge that call.
Yeah, and a couple of things. Because goaltending was called, they're able to review the play. And kind of interesting, for Duquesne on their bench, Isaac DeGregorio is the video coordinator, and he has the iPad during the game. He watches every single play, and if there's something that can get reviewed, he's all over it.
And they have to be efficient of letting the coach know, Drew Joyce in this particular scenario, of let's go. Or sometimes I felt like Drew just said, I saw that with my own eyes.
Well, Isaac was on top of it, and that's his job. And so far this year, Drew Joyce told us, I like our work together because they have not had any mistakes in whether to review. I think it's goaltending.
Drew also said there have been a few plays he hasn't challenged, but he smiled and sort of nudged us and said, but I haven't lost a challenge when I have decided to do so far this season. Officials letting us know Duquesne loses the challenge, loses the timeout. The call on the floor, Tim, is confirmed.
That's exactly right. And It's a huge bucket, potentially. You're down 12. You want some momentum at halftime. Instead, you give it to your opponent with the opportunity to build on that lead.
34.5 seconds remaining in this opening half. About a 4.5-second differential. That's also a turnover when you look at the statistical lines at the end for Duquesne. So the Rams up by 12. Pretty much going to try to milk this all the way down for the final possession. Lewis has it up top. Now to Djokovic. Shot clock at 10. Here's Hill. Double team momentarily. Still launches it. Front iron no good. Rebounded by Edwards. Clock's at 5. They've got to go. Ginyard loses it momentarily. Launches from 3. Off the mark, and that will conclude the first 20 minutes of action here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Well said, Steve. And at Bryant, yeah, they played a fast pace. They were top 10 in tempo. This team is faster than Ryan Odom's teams from last year. Remember, they had Max Shulga and Bamacil, and that was a fast, high-scoring team. This team is faster.
How critical is it for Jimmy Williams to play some type of a role here for Duquesne early?
The Dukes cannot win this game if he only has one bucket.
Jennings with the steal, gets it to Tracy, who lays it up and in. A quick turnover, a quick bucket for the Rams. They're now on top by 14. Ginyard cut off down low. Here's Williams. We talked about him, fouled on the way up. He will head to the line to shoot 3. Jimmy Williams came into this game averaging nearly 15 a contest, 4.5 rebounds, picked up 2 fouls in the first 3:53 of that opening stanza, and sat on the bench the rest of the time.
Yeah, what a great story, though, for Jimmy and Terrence. They have a unique bond. Terrence is from Tampa. Jimmy played at USF, and they were playing together at Sadie Park outside of Tampa, playing against each other. Little did they know that they would eventually become teammates here at Duquesne.
Foul was on Nick Lewis, his first. But they both said of one another, when they were out there, they knew pretty quickly, oh, that guy can play. Yeah. I think I want to get on his team. And I believe when they were on the same squad, they smiled brightly and said, we never lost. We kind of figured it out. And maybe they'll figure it out in the second half as Williams converts on all 3.
Yeah, the pickup point when you're playing against these teams, if you can extend your defense out towards half court, that's over and back.
They wanted it on the first one. The ref said Dixon deflected it, but as Djokovic got it to Tracy, he did clearly jump into the backcourt.
Jimmy Williams averages 15 points per game. He was subpar in the first half. He is the #1 most important Dukes player in the second half. He just scored. What happens after a struggling player gets free throws? Let's keep a close eye on him. I think he's going to be ultra aggressive here at the start of the second half.
He's been in double figures the last 9 games, currently with 5 points. See if he can keep that streak going. But certainly a concerted effort early to get the ball in his hand. Shot clock at 5. Here's Ginyard, right wing, 3-pointer, back iron too strong by Crawford. The rebound coming down to the Rams, but momentarily Williams with a steal. Ginyard, long range 3, and he's got it. The lead down to 8. Lewis thought about it. They'll rework it up top around the perimeter. Shot clock at 10. Stripped by the Dukes. Williams looking to run, lays it up, and that will be a goaltending call on Lazar Djokovic. An 8-0 run for the Dukes. Jimmy Williams is now a factor.
Yeah, earlier this week, huge win against Davidson. In that contest, Ginyard and Williams, who you see taking over right now, combined for 60 points. In the first half of this game, they only had 7. Keep a close eye. Both of them are heating up.
3 straight turnovers by the Rams. Slowing things down at least momentarily. Down low, Djokovic. Guarded by Netchis. Evans right wing. Shot clock at 8. Here's Djokovic. loses the dribble. Shot clock at 3. They're going to have to force it. Here's Lewis. Oh, and they're going to say a foul as the shot clock expired.
Nick Lewis is going to develop into a two-way standout. The next step in his game, can he go left as well as he goes right? Shot clock is down. Great recognition. And the specialty that Nick Lewis has, long arms and deflections. These numbers are absurd. In their game against Niagara, Nick had 11 deflections. That's crazy. Some teams, their goal is to get 25 for a game. And then what really blew me away is against American, he had 16 deflections.
Pretty good. Personal foul on Cameron Crawford, his second. Lewis makes them both. The lead back up to 8 for the Rams with some token pressure in the backcourt. They're going to call a foul away from the ball, and it's going to be on Brandon Jennings of VCU.
Interesting adjustment for Phil Martelli Jr. Full court pressure, Steve, is a great tool to jumpstart a lethargic group of players. They were great in the first half. I'm getting the sense they've relaxed in the second half, and they've let Duquesne back into this game.
And they're getting the fans in this field house a little bit excited about the prospects of keeping their winning streak going. Crawford gets it down low in the blocks. Dixon, nice move, up and under, lays it in. 50-44, VCU up by 6, 2.5 minutes in to the second half of play. And that's going to be a foul on Jimmy Williams, his third, trying to slow down Brandon Jennings.
Okay, defensively, I thought that on that particular play, Djokovic looked more like a parking cone than he did a defender. Dixon just drop-stepped him, and boy, who ignited him? If he and Netjes are both playing well together, Duquesne becomes a lot more dangerous.
Jennings loses it momentarily, able to gather it. Shot clock now at 5 for Tracy. It's cut off there by Dixon, and an extra step along the way, says Tim Kelly. Turnover by the VCU Rams.
Boy, beating Davidson in front of a tough sellout crowd. Steph Curry was there. This is really the way that they played, that their second half energy is how they played the double overtimes against Davidson.
Oh, that was a pretty look. Ginyard to Dixon, can't finish, but fouled, and he'll head back to the line to shoot 2. VCU's already had 4 turnovers, 3 minutes, 12 seconds into the second half. They had 5 all 20 minutes there in the first half.
David Dixon, you brought up a great point earlier, Steve, when you said that he had 13 rebounds in that Davidson game. David Dixon is a hometown hero. This guy is loved by the fans here. Why? Well, he could have left. Most players do. They transfer, always seeking more. He's found a home here. He loves it here. The fans love him. Really good to see him playing so well.
And they're going to say the foul was on the floor. So Duquesne with the ball. Netjes has it up top. Shot clock at 10. Working on Evans. Lays it up and in. How about that move by Jakub Netjes?
I call Netjes a do-it-all forward. He's the X factor for this team. He's improved his post game, and he also has been mentored. Sometimes I see a player and the body language of the teammates are saying, look, go score. We know you can do it. And sometimes Netjes is so unselfish, he passes up opportunities to score.
Terrence Hill Jr. off the bench into the game for VCU. And has 4 fouls, 4 turnovers in the second half. Netjes unable to convert, but gets the follow. Too strong with the shorty, and they're going to call a block down low. The 5th foul already on VCU, and we're not 3.5 minutes into the second half.
In the first half, VCU brought great energy. Second half, the response has been stellar by Duquesne. Do you think that he likes it? Yes. Drew Joyce very excited.
That just converts on that one. Barry Evans has 3 fouls for VCU. Something to keep an eye on. Jimmy Williams has 3 for Duquesne as well. Netchus to convert and get within 2, and he's got it. It was a 14-point lead a short time ago by VCU. It's down to 2.
And the beauty of the free throws, it allows you to set up your defense.
Michael Bell also with 3 fouls as he picked up the latest for VCU. There's Jennings, left side, cut off by Ginyard, and they're going to call Ginyard, it looks like, with a reach-in.
In the first half, Duquesne's bench was all sitting down. There was no emotion. There was no cheering. They're all on their feet. And when Netchus made that last bucket, they were jumping up and down, high-fiving. Sometimes you have to have the ability to count on your bench to get you jump-started.
Down low to Djokovic, who was held on the way up by Dixon. They all do tremendous jobs when I speak of the officials, but what's your sense of all the whistles and fouls throughout this afternoon?
It's not surprising because these are 2 teams that use their bodies to gain advantage. There's another whistle on cue.
That's going to be on Cameron Crawford for Duquesne. So we're not even 4 minutes into the second half, Tim. We've got 10 fouls. 5 each between VCU and Duquesne. That's going to be the 3rd on Crawford.
I sense that a slugfest foul shooting favors Duquesne. You know, we talk a lot about today about clutch time statistics. Duquesne is so much better with their clutch free throw shooting and field goal percentage down the stretch. That's got to favor them in a close contest.
And Duquesne was 6 of 12 from the stripe in the first half, but as you said, big moments, they step up. Jennings loses it on the way up, sends it down, ill-advised, trying to hit Max Edwards, and they return the favor with a turnover right back to the Rams. Terrence Hill Jr. with it, guarded by Ginyard.
That's our marquee matchup for sure.
And that's another turnover. Jennings trying to hit Djokovic in the blocks. Not to be. Duquesne on a run. What a great way to ring in the new year. Atlantic 10 basketball right here on USA Sports. And we've got a good one. VCU up 2 over Duquesne. And what a journey it has been for first-year head coach for the Rams, Phil Martelli Jr., Tim.
When he took over, a lot of people would say, you know what, he's got a silver spoon. His dad is a great coach. He has paid his dues as much as anybody. Phil Sr. shared with me that he remembers during the summertime, Phil would go, he would drive by himself to Louisville so he could be on Rick Pitino's staff at his camp. He drove to Wake Forest to coach at Skip Prosser's camp. And when he went to Central Connecticut State for his first job, he slept on a couch on a porch all winter long. He got 0 compensation for that. This is a guy that has really worked his way up, and he belonged. Remember, 2 NCAA trips when he was at Bryant the last 2 years.
Youngest full-time assistant at that moment, 22 years old, and Martelli doing a great job in his first year at VCU. Ginyard has it on the right wing, shot clock at 8, trying to get it down low to Netchus. He does. Open man in the corner, DeMichael for the lead, in and out. Dixon with the follow. Second time won't go. And the Rams looking to run, at least for the moment. Duquesne back quickly.
In this game, Duquesne plus 12 points in the paint. That number surprised me a great deal. That's how they stayed in the first half.
Bell with the nice one-hander that goes. The lead back up to 4. Michael Bell with the floater that drops. Ginyard loses it momentarily. He does lose it efficiently. VCU looking to run. Here's Bell again. Almost lost it. Up top, Jennings for 3. Back iron too strong. Netchus now with it. A lot of bodies on the floor. Here's DeMichael, who lays it up and in. We're seeing a little bit of everything this afternoon, Tim.
Here's the difference. First half, everything was in transition. Second half, it's much more aggressive and it's much more half court. That's the reason why we have so many foul calls in the second half.
And there's another one on Ginyard. It's going to be the 31st foul called between both teams.
Wow, look at that behind the dribble. Nice catch and finish by DeMichael. Remember, that's your center effectively. And with John Hughley and his status uncertain moving forward, it makes it so much more important that you get Lazar Milosevic and also Netjes to be able to pick up the interior play.
Ginyard, Williams, and Crawford all with 3 fouls for Duquesne. For VCU, Tracy, Evans, and Bell, 3 apiece as well. Here's Evans, lays it up, can't get it to go. Fight for the loose ball. And VCU will come down with it. Here's Michael Bell. A soft touch off the glass by the 6'8 junior from London, England. 54-50, Rams by 4. Here's Jimmy Williams. Thought about it momentarily. No hesitation from long range, though, by Max Edwards to get the Dukes within 1.
When Max Edwards makes a 3, buckets usually follow after that. Keep a close eye on Maximus Edwards.
How about that move by Hill and able to get it to go. He is fun to watch, a special player off that VCU bench.
When Bell comes in the game, VCU gets better. The combination off the bench of he and Jennings is so important.
Edwards leans in, was hoping to get the foul called. No whistle. It's an air ball. He looks at the ref saying, what happened to all these whistles we've been getting?
I think maybe the referees were exhausted at halftime from that pace. So they said, we're going to blow the whistle a little bit, make this more of a half-court game.
Crawford back into the game with those 3 fouls. Jimmy Williams has 3 on the floor for head coach Drew Joyce. 17 different players have scored for both teams. The Rams with the 3-point lead, 56-53, 12:45 and counting here in the second half. Hill, step back 3, front iron no good. Nice boxing out down low by Alex Williams. You can tell Jimmy Williams wants to get involved here.
I feel like he will. He's calling for everybody to give him a screen because he wants to get downhill.
Corner 3, and they're going to call a charge on Williams before he got the pass in the corner to Crawford. That is the call, and that is the 4th foul on Jimmy Williams.
Yeah, Williams struggled in the first half when he got 2 quick fouls. Got tangled up with Hill on the baseline.
Let's mark that down. The 12:21 mark, 56-53. VCU, 3-point lead. Williams to the bench with 4.
I want you to notice the spacing. Nobody in the paint for VCU. This creates driving lanes. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody get into the paint and to the rim.
Just as Ahmad Noel did. Christmas comes a week late for Noel. Lead 5 for VCU, 58-53. Williams loses it. VCU looking to run. Hill has it. He'll lay it up, and it is partially blocked, but they'll call a foul on the way up. That is going to be on Max Edwards.
Sometimes I feel like my family doesn't even realize when I'm gone. Maybe I could go to the local store, get some gloves and a hat, and find myself a ticket.
Should we go AWOL till Monday morning? See what our better halves think of that one. All right, coming out of the timeout, Hill to the line. Foul trouble prospects for both. We'll monitor that. Hill, a shocking miss, doesn't happen often. Second chance opportunity. Evans from long range won't go. And last touch by Mitchell of VCU.
I am surprised that Hill missed 2 free throws. He's such a pure shooter, labeled it as a shooter, but he does so much more. You know, he told us earlier this week that from Portland, his brother is Tyvell, he's 15. His other brother is King, who's 9. He said, I know that they're watching everything I do, and that's the fuel that gets me so excited to play great basketball. Definitely a role model.
Hill thought about the steal, and a good role model at that. Jennings able to force the turnover and fouled by Dixon on the way, trying to slow down that transition. That's going to be the third foul on David Dixon. They just are relentless, Tim, VCU.
And their defense is stellar. Strong majority of man, good ball pressure, not traditional havoc defense that we saw from Shaka Smart and all the coaches since. Think about the coaching tree that they have. Anthony Grant, he's at Dayton. He was there. Shaka Smart, Will Wade, Mike Rhodes, Ryan Odom. What a great lineage. And, you know, I love the fact that VCU has stayed true to who they are. They don't hire retreads. They get guys that are young and up and coming and definitely defense-oriented.
And it's what Phil Martelli Jr. shared with us. They stay true to that standard. It's not about him. It's about what VCU represents. As Jennings missed, but VCU with a second chance opportunity, and shocking miss by Jennings, who's 89% from the line. Not a shock there to see Hill lay it up and in. The lead back up to 7 for the Rams. Ginyard has it up top, thought about the three, over to Crawford. In the corner, the three will be launched, and it'll be blocked by Jennings. Really good defense there by Brandon Jennings. As VCU looking to extend that lead, currently up 7. Noel, got it.
Boy, he's something else. He had a big scoring game 2 games ago, but because they're so deep, last contest he didn't even get in. Big impact against Duquesne.
VCU Rams fans, young and old, happy with that 9-0 run, giving VCU a 63-53 lead, Tim.
And they're so deep with interchangeable parts. To the rim is Hill. You can't let a driver go to his strong hand. And Noel is such a unique player. 9 different Rams have scored, and that is so special because who do you focus on with this team? They're all weapons. They can all take over. Against St. Bonaventure, Djokovic and Jennings combined for 43 points. Hill had 19 off the bench. They've got so many offensive weapons.
Duquesne needs to get some offensive going. DeMichael cut off baseline up top to Crawford. Shot clock now at 10. Ball in the hands of Ginyard. Shot clock at 6. Fouled on the way up. They're going to say it was on the floor. And that's going to be on Brandon Jennings.
I'm actually a little bit angry as a player that loves post play. Why don't they give David Dixon the ball? He was calling for it. He had his arms out like a 747. He had some work to do, and they ignored him. That would make me mad. Next huddle, I would say, hey, give me the ball if I've got a little guy on my back.
Dixon gets it up top, hands it to Ginyard. Double teamed in the corner. Skip pass to Netchus. Thought about the three. He'll drive instead. You had the opportunity. Air ball, second chance. Good by Ginyard.
Big bucket. Big bucket. Wow. Duquesne looks like they defend harder after they score a bucket. And that's a dangerous way to play.
Lewis drives left, cut off there. Here's Hill along the baseline. Skip past Evans. Noel, top of the keys. Got it. That one nearly touched the top of the ceiling, but falls. Lead back up to 10 for VCU.
Is that Noel's 10th point? He's got such a high impact in this game. He has not played a lot of minutes.
But when he plays, the impact is felt.
Look at the arc on his shot. Drive, kick, everybody's moving, making the extra pass, and there's the high arc bomb.
See if if Duquesne has an answer. Ginyard loses it, tries to call timeout momentarily, gets it to Crawford. Shot clock at 4. Crawford nearly loses it. DeMichael from way downtown, well off the mark, and that's going to be a shot clock violation. And that is the tenacious defense that VCU plays for that entire 30.
You know, a key barometer for VCU in the past has been how many turnovers they would get in a game. That's not the way this team plays. Last 4 contests, their opponents have only turned it over an average of 10 per game.
A little bit of a different look defensively here for Duquesne. 3-ball, corner pocket, too strong by Noel, rebounded by DeMichael. Ginyard needs to create somehow, some way, and he's fouled on the way up. Looks to be against Nick Lewis.
Duquesne is getting really good guard play. 2 years ago, I looked at the guards, Jimmy Clark and Day Grant. They impressed me. Last year they had Trey Dinkins and Kareem Rozier, smaller guards. These guards this year are better than in the past, and that's the reason that I give them a lot of credit for being a better, more dangerous team this year.
Foul was on Lewis, his second. Ginyard makes the first. Substitutions on both sides of the bench. Jimmy Williams had gone to the scorer's table, but now back on the bench. Didn't make it to exactly where he wanted to be with those 4 fouls.
Yeah, that's been an interesting story to watch, because as soon as he got his second foul today, it seemed like it took a lot of the juice out of his game.
66-58, VCU by 8, under 8 and counting here in the second half of play.
3-2 zone. That's dangerous against VCU.
Noel in and out from long range. They're going to say last touch off of DeMichael. And he's saying the challenge, but he doesn't realize they didn't have success early. 66-58, VCU. Those were the youngsters out on the floor earlier during the halftime and before the game. They're enjoying every bit of it. Critical stretch here as Jimmy Williams is back into the game, part of that 2-3 zone, and he's got those 4 fouls. And you know what? Noel was aware of it, went right at Jimmy Williams to finish. Oh, Ginyard's quick. Special to watch. Beautiful touch by Terrence Ginyard.
You know who my player of the game is for VCU right now?
You could pick about a half dozen of them.
Noel. Double-figure scoring. Would not have expected that. I don't like zone for Duquesne. I like them much better in man-to-man, being able to cover the paint.
Great handle, though, by DeMichael to pick up the loose ball, forcing the turnover now to Jimmy Williams. Cut off in the paint, kicks it up to Dixon, now to Ginyard. And there's going to be a foul there on number 2, Jadrian Tracy. No teams in the bonus, so going to be a lot of free throws coming down the stretch. We're just getting things going on this Saturday. A triple header of Atlantic 10 hoops on USA Sports. LaSalle, George Washington to follow us, then Rhode Island and George Mason. And a little bonus action on Sunday, high noon, Richmond at 40.
George Mason, to me, is the best team in the conference right now. I do like the ability of St. Louis to have more balance. That they are not Robbie Avila-centric anymore. I like the supporting cast. This is going to be a fabulous race in the 50th year of the A10. Did you realize that the first champion 50 years ago, 1977, was in this city? Duquesne won the first championship.
Look at you dropping a bit of historical knowledge on us. We'll be just across the street, PPG Arena, for that conference tournament just over 2 months from now. Ginyard 1 of 2 from the line. Tracy with the personal, his 4th. 68-61, VCU by 7.
When VCU has attacked this zone, they've had really good success on the offensive glass. Let's see if they're able to get offensive rebounds against the zone.
Shot clock at 6. Here's Hill against Netchis. Williams reached in momentarily, almost comes up with the turnover. The last touch by Williams. VCU maintains possession. The shot clock at 3. Do you think part of going to his zone is to protect Williams with the 4 fouls?
That's part of it, and I also think VCU has a little bit more depth than Duquesne. They might be resting their players for a home stretch run.
They got to do it quickly. Here's Hill from the corner. Oh, he is special to watch. Goodness, he can play.
You know why? His little brothers are at home watching in Portland. He's being a role model.
71-61 as he gave the land shark signal running down the floor. 10-point lead for the Rams, 5:59 to go. You know he's getting the ball, Tim, and you know the shot clock's winding down.
It's a beautiful release, and he gives the credit to his dad. When he was a kid, he and his brother would get in the car. They drive to the YMCA. He would pack lunch for them. And how many of these stories are so much fun to hear about sons and dads going in the backyard, going to the park, going to the YMCA, and working together to become a shooter.
Critical miss on the front end of a 1-and-1 by Ginyard. Alternating possession arrow on that rebound that was tied up. So the ball will go to VCU. And if Duquesne's going to make a charge, you referenced it earlier, they better take advantage of those trips to the line.
Yeah. And they also have the ability to knock down threes. Against Davidson, they scored 48 points from 3. How appropriate. Steph Curry was in the house.
What a move by Lewis. Fouled on the way up. The hoop should count. We saw it was in, and we saw the hand come up through the net.
Can't do that, right?
You cannot. Not legally, at least. The refs conferring to see, was there a foul as well? That, to me, was the initial whistle.
There was contact by Netchis on the drive, and then from the weak side, it looked like Dixon comes over and sticks his hand through the rim. It was actually his second hand. It was an afterthought. We talked a little bit about Duquesne knocking off Davidson. That was the first time that Duquesne has ever won at Davidson.
So after that quick little meeting, it is a hoop counted. Goaltending on Dixon. Netchis with the personal foul. Lewis with the chance to pick up his 11th point, and he converts. So the lead back up to 13, 74-61. And if Duquesne is going to make a late charge here, Tim, it better get going quickly.
The problem is that VCU is a hard team to come back against. But if you're going to do it, that's it right there.
There's Jimmy Williams back into double figures for the 10th straight game. The lead down to 10. Now it's up to the Duke's defense to try to slow down the Rams. Great look down low to Djokovic. Dixon with some help and another whistle. And that is going to be on Dixon. The 40th foul call between both teams today.
Williams just a beautiful shooter. In the gym every day. Actually, Drew Joyce was saying when Jimmy first came to campus, they had an apartment for him, but nobody knew this. He slept in the locker room.
For 2 weeks.
For 2 whole weeks before practice started, before school started, because he said, you know, why waste the time of going from my apartment to the gym? I'm just going to sleep in the locker room, and he did.
But that's been part of his DNA, to put in the work, to finally get noticed as Djokovic makes both free throws. The lead back up to 12 for VCU, 76-64, 5:05 and counting here in the second half of play. Williams again, and again he makes it. They're not going away.
I guess that's what happens when you sleep in the gym.
Evans down low to Djokovic. Dixon holding his ground. Good defense. Djokovic fouled on the way up. And that's going to be the 5th foul on Dixon. He's out of this one, but Williams starting to feel it.
And it's a dangerous way to play defense. Dixon sets the screen, and Djokovic went under the screen. That's a bad idea.
Djokovic good on the first, the lead back to double figures, 10-point margin, 77-67.
Worth noting, clutch time stats indicate that as we get closer to the last 2 minutes, that Duquesne is much better shooting free throws than VCU is.
Jimmy Williams is saying, I'm going to do it by myself. Gets it to Netjes, his 3 well off the mark, and that's going to be last touch VCU. So it's 78-67, Tim. Coming into this one, VCU had scored 80 or more in the last 4 games. They won all 4. It's the first time they scored 80-plus in 4 straight in 12 years. If they do it again today, it will be the first time in 50 years that they have scored 80 or more in 5 consecutive games. 3-ball, corner pocket, front iron, no good by Lewis. Williams looking to run. Kicks it over to Ginyard, launches the 3, back iron too strong, 1 and done, yet again for the Dukes. Evans double teamed right in front of us, looks to the ref and says, let's get a timeout, let's slow things down. 78-67, VCU with that 11-point lead. Lisa, 4:06 to go, and I still go back to Jimmy Williams when he went out with that 4th foul with 12:31 to go. Duquesne was down just 3, and he's such a big part of this Duke squad. He's never found his rhythm really all day long.
Yeah, and he's out there pressured. He's got to be careful because I would consider driving at him hard. If he fouls out, your job gets much, much easier.
Djokovic, shot clock at 5, faked the 3, and a strong finish, and fouled on the way in by Jakub Netjes.
I can't get over how right-hand dominant this VCU team is. Almost all of their driving baskets, they go to their right hand. If you force somebody to their left hand, half a step slower.
You touched on it earlier today that Djokovic could very well become the best big man in this conference. Would not surprise you as he completes the 3-point play. The Rams up by 14.
Maybe not this year, but keep an eye on his future.
This ties the largest lead of the day for the Rams. Williams held, gets it to Alex Williams. Long 3, no good. Djokovic with the rebound. No, by the way, with 81 points, 5 in a row for VCU, 80-plus. First time that has happened in the program's history in 50 years.
A lot of dribble handoff.
Williams steals it from Jennings. Numbers don't favor him, but a strong finish. Barry Evans goes up high, but we know that one's going to count. Goaltending on Evans. Djokovic with 16 points, 10 rebounds.
If you're trying to make a comeback and you're down by 12, it's as simple as this. Get a score, get a stop, and get a score, and then reset things. That's the best way, and they're really missing David Dixon because he played a strong physical game in the paint.
A lot of foul trouble on both sides. Dixon already out for the Dukes. And the clock, a big ally for the Rams, up 12. 2:45 to go. It's Djokovic looking to work his way down against Netjes. Jennings, nice move. Evans wide open, and he makes them pay. That could be the final dagger.
Down 15 with under 3 to go is a massive problem for Duquesne. Remember what Phil Martelli Sr. said to Evans before the game? He said, great teams win games on the road.
LaSalle, George Washington following us when we're done. You want to watch that game right now, the US Network app. You can go take a sneak peek as we finish up here in Pittsburgh. Or USANetwork.com, also another option for you. Williams to the line to shoot 2.
in person, I'm really impressed with what I've seen from the VCU Rams. And talking to Phil Martelli Jr., I said, what actually indicates if you're a contender? He said, just look at the numbers. Our goal is to be top 3 in offensive efficiency, top 3 in defensive efficiency. So I said, well, where are you right now? Because he knows all the numbers right at the tip of his tongue. They're number 2 in the A-10 in offensive efficiency, number 3 in defense, and that tells me, yes, they are a contender.
3 doesn't go by Hill. Williams looking to run quickly down the front court, and he launches it too strong, too far for Max Edwards to gather it in. Turnover by the Dukes. You got the sense when Coach told us that, he's like, well, I want to be first in both. Top 3's nice, but I think we can do better.
Be a little bit greedy.
Yeah. Final 2 minutes, VCU with the 13-point lead. Another great pass by Hill to Djokovic with the left hand off the glass. There's a reason many thought highly of them in the preseason predictions in this A-10.
Their players make sense to me. And Steve, it's kind of staggering when you consider that they have 9 new players. It's so difficult to build immediate chemistry, but they help each other on defense. They share the ball on offense. They talk very, very well. And they also seem to excel in the area of role identification. I think they're very dangerous.
Ginyard with a nice finish a moment ago. Here's Lewis against Netchis, cut off as he gets it to Hill, and boy, he can do just about everything. Can he? Terrence Hill Jr. Final minute of play, VCU back up 15, 88-73. Nifty little spin move by Max Edwards as well.
And you know who will live with that? Trading baskets right now, Phil Martelli Jr.
88-75, VCU on their way to going 2-0 early in the Atlantic 10, 11-4 on the season, and heading into this month of January, got to be feeling really good, although those next couple opponents, every bit as challenging.
Well, St. Louis is going to be tough. George Mason on the road, extremely tough. To me, those are the 3 best teams, VCU, St. Louis, and George Mason. We're going to learn a lot next week.
This pending loss is going to drop Duquesne to 9-6, 1-1 in the league, but a chance to get right back at it at St. Joe's a few days from now.
Yeah, and the key game to watch there, Dayton in your building has to be a victory. It's going to be St. Joe's and Fordham that are winnable games. If Duquesne can send a message by beating Dayton here, I like where they're at.
As we watch this final 49 seconds tick away, your big picture takeaways from this impressive VCU victory, what are they? Last
year, they were the A-10 post and regular season champs. Ryan Odom is at Virginia now. They lost Max Scholga and Joe Bamaseal. I can see them winning it again because they have depth, they have athleticism, they play both ends of the court. They're very, very well coached, and they seem to get along. This is a fun system. There are teams that bring it up the court, and it seems like it's stressful, it's hard work. They're not doing anything other than playing ball and having fun.
9 different leading scorers this season. 11 players have hit double figures.
That's crazy. 9 different guys have less. Say that one again. Because
9 different leading scorers in their first 14 games.
And the reason that's important, Steve, who do you focus on? The scouting report, you would think, yeah, they're going to really spend a lot of time with Terrence Hill or Brandon Jennings. Well, it keeps going because Jadrian Tracy makes shots. And the fact that Noel had double figures in like 9 minutes was super impressive.
Why not end the one with another foul, right?
Yeah.
Not sure you need to put VCU back on the line when you're down 13, but...
Well, the good news is it gives us more time. When we've got free throws, we just talk about stuff, we share stories, so...
Of course we do. Hill converts on the first of 2, and it goes back to Phil Martelli Jr.'s premise he shared with us. I want a roster that has 6, 7, 8 different starters, because you just mentioned it. Well, if you're going to focus on this guy, well, I've got one of the best 6 men in the country in Terrence Hill Jr., and I'm all right with him to come off and spark the team. And Terrence told us that. He said those first 4 minutes, I can maybe see the game through a different lens, what the opponent is trying to do. He's like, I look at that as an advantage, and then I get aggressive.
Well, when he comes in the game, the other team starts looking at each other like, okay, who's going to cover him, who's going to stop him? And I can promise you this. We talked a little bit about Phil Martelli Jr.'s schedule and how he's really paid his dues. When he's recruiting, I can promise you that he shares that he was an assistant coach in the G League, and he said, I'm going to teach you guys NBA principles so that you're ready when it gets to the point where maybe you can go to the league. That's appealing.
Very much so, especially in 2026 of what college hoops has become, to say, you know what, I've been there. I've kind of seen it, and they've gotten to 90 now, so this is a team that can get the job done on both ends of the floors. Ginyard across the half-court stripe. Final 30 seconds of this one. Williams, Jimmy that is. He keeps shooting them. When you're that good, he's got to make up for lost time that he spent on the bench in foul trouble for much of this one. But Duquesne, they're not giving up. Bell maybe should have brought it back out, but he'll head to the line. Going to be fouled by Jake DeMichael.
When you talk about having multiple starters beyond your starters, I think that Michael Bell is underrated for sure. And when you see Terrence Hill come in the game, Bell usually comes in with him, and he plays a great role. He's got a physical presence, and he makes winning plays. That combination, tough to deal with.
And then Barry Evans, also a big-time factor, the 6'8" senior from Baltimore. One of those guys that came from Bryant with Phil Martelli Jr. He said he's the warrior. His energy is the heartbeat of the team. They have so many of those intangibles, Tim, that at the end of a game you say, oh, yeah, that's why they won. 91-78, make it 91-80. Ginyard with an acrobatic finish there.
You think they'll foul?
I hope not. It's been fun, but they're going to keep playing, that I know. Noel able to hang on to that one, and yes, there is the foul by Cameron Crawford. That's the fourth for Crawford. What does Duquesne do from here? They had the big win on the road at Davidson. You want to hold serve on your home court. Couldn't get it done. What do you see from them maybe in the next few games?
Well, the first thing is they're so much better when they shoot threes. And once again, with that game at Davidson, they showed what they're capable of in front of Steph Curry. How impressive. They made 48 points from three. In that game, you know Steph Curry was impressed. He was in town because exit 30 outside of Davidson, the freeway there, is now called the Steph Curry Exchange.
And they played that next morning against Charlotte, little NBA matinee. Williams cut off. Final jumper of the day, not to fall for Crawford. And finally, that last horn has sounded. The final score, VCU 93, Duquesne 80.